Hello, everyone out there. Good to see everybody. I'm just going to do a quick little update before heading into work this afternoon. It looks like we're up and running here. We're just going to wait for a few more folks to get in. People may be on their lunch break and what have not. You should be hearing sound now, Mary. It says I had my microphone muted, but make sure that you can hear me. So. Let's see. There's Nicole. If somebody else could chime in and tell me that they hear me, that would be great. Sounds good here. Okay, good. So we do have the audio up and running. The big deal this afternoon is going to be what happens in the Gulf of Mexico the next 12 to 24 hours. That's going to be critical in determining what our impacts are going to be as we go into Friday and Saturday. So there's some good news here. There may be a little bit of bad news here. So it's kind of a mixed bag as to what we're seeing this afternoon. And I'm going to take you through that now in the next few minutes and give you a closer idea of what to expect. So here was the latest outlook from the National Hurricane Center. And in fact, a new one is going to be coming out any minute. I don't think it's going to say much different than what's here now. If you look at the percentages, it looks like we're basically going to have a tropical depression form. At least, good chance it becomes a tropical storm. 70% chance in the next 48 hours. And that's really what we're concentrating now on, is the chance in the next 48 hours or so is quite high. That would be between now and Friday. And that's when we think this is eventually going to end up developing. So let's go to the satellite picture this afternoon. And when we do, this is the old low that was analyzed by the Hurricane Center over the last 24 hours. And that's kind of drifted inland and looks like it's dissipated over Mexico. But there appears to be a new broad area of low pressure trying to develop in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. Look at that big thunderstorm going off right there. And we see additional storms going off here. Now, there's also been an upper level low to the north, and that's been interfering somewhat. But you can see overall thunderstorms are increasing, particularly across the Gulf of Mexico. So it does look like we're on our way to having a tropical depression. Now, this is the moisture forecast, or not forecast, the moisture satellite loop, the water vapor loop. And this is the upper low I was telling you about that's off to the north. So that's creating westerly winds over the southwestern Gulf, which is not really ideal conditions. And when we see a setup like this, that tells us that likely we're going to have a lopsided, east-sided storm, a very typical one that you would see for the month of June. If you remember Cristobal last year, looks very similar to kind of what happened with that. Now, if you flood it in Cristobal, I'm not saying you're going to flood this time. I'm just saying it's that type of storm near and east of the track is to where most of the impacts are probably going to occur. Now, if we look at our moisture forecast, this really tells the story on how I think things are going to evolve between now and the weekend. Right now, we generally have dry and hot conditions over the Gulf Coast. You see that dry air here in the orange, and there are the tropical downpours over the Yucatan, the southern Gulf of Mexico, and near our area of low pressure. So let's kind of spool this out step by step, and this will take us into Friday. Okay, so here's Friday, and here come the tropical downpours. Now notice, some kind of center is probably going to be located south of New Iberia, the way it looks right now. And look at all the dry air that's wrapping around the western side of this. This is very typical of a western Gulf storm in the month of June. And that dry air is going to be real critical in what our weather is going to look like on Sunday. Notice by Sunday, the storm is moving out very quickly. And I meant to put a stop in on Saturday. There's Saturday. So we're in the middle of the whole thing on Saturday. And then on Sunday, that dry air comes in. One thing that we'll still have to keep an eye on is this trough, a little bit of a moisture tail, to see if that hangs back across our area. But right now it looks like a wedge of dry air could come in on Sunday, and that might salvage Father's Day. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but that's sort of the good news. The bad news is the chance for us seeing impactful rains. It looks like that's continuing to go up. If this does get a name, the name is going to be Claudette, but whether it's a depression or a tropical storm Claudette, what our impacts are going to look like, they're not going to stay much different between the two. Water temperatures, 82 to 84. Definitely warm enough that we're going to be able to see tropical development, and we're already seeing that this afternoon. The steering is pretty set in stone. So there's two pieces of good news this afternoon. One, drier air may build in here a little quicker late Saturday and Sunday, depending on how the storm eventually tracks, and that would limit the amount of time for heavy rain. The second one, this looks like it's going to move just a little bit faster than what we thought yesterday, and here's why. So here's our invest area, way down here in the southern Gulf of Mexico. We've got strong high pressure over the Bahamas, and we've got strong high pressure here over the western United States. And this jet stream dip keeping it cool over the northeast, that's moving away. So if we go on out in time, let's go into Friday. Here comes the area of low pressure. It's located somewhere off the Louisiana coast. This high is moving toward Florida. It's getting stronger, and this high is still strong to the north. So that's why it's going to move pretty slow on Friday. But the good news is, once we go into Saturday now, this high pressure is weakening, but this one is getting stronger to the south of it, and that is helping to push the steering winds out of the southwest, and that's going to give it a shove to the northeast on Sunday. In addition, there's a cold front coming into the northern plains, so between that and the high over the Gulf, that should get the depression, or what could be Claudette, moving off to the northeast pretty quickly, and that would at least shut down the window for heavy rain. But we're still talking about 24 hours of heavy rain potential. We only need a few hours of training rains over parts of the area to cause major flood problems. Now, here is the first flood risk to come out from the Weather Prediction Center. This is Friday, and so by Friday afternoon and evening, we expect rain bands to begin moving on the coast. So generally, most of South Louisiana and Southeast Louisiana is in a level 2 slight risk on Friday. I do expect this risk area to expand to at least a level 3, depending on the eventual track of the storm and where the center is located. So when we look at a broad brush graphic like this for what the rainfall totals could possibly be, the totals, you see what this says right here? The totals depend on the track. That's right. And so these heavy rains over southwest Louisiana, that could shove even farther to the east. The heavy rains over southeast Louisiana, that conceivably could go even far to the east. But based on the blend of models that we see right now, the highest risk of intense rain is southeast Louisiana and then over toward the Florida beaches. So I know a lot of folks are going to the beach this weekend, but it looks like there could be some storminess off to our east as well. So that's painting widespread 5-inch rains across the area, and potentially maybe even a little bit more than that. But again, this will be highly dependent on the track. We don't have a trackable center yet. We should have that later tonight or during the day tomorrow. It's a big sloppy storm, and you know how that game is played around here. Hey, did you hear the news? I have a new podcast. That's right. I'm trying something different. I have an audio podcast like everyone's used to, and a video podcast. The National Hurricane Conference is here right now. It's wrapping up tomorrow, just in the nick of time. And yesterday I interviewed Dr. Phil Klotzbach of Colorado State University. He studied under Dr. Bill Gray, who you guys have heard a lot about over the years in their seasonal hurricane forecasting. Phil's been a friend of mine for a long time. And so we had a real good discussion about what's going on in the Gulf right now, what's going to happen this season, and just overall climate and what that means for hurricanes in the Atlantic as we go forward over the coming decade. So that's my 10th episode. You can watch them all at fox8live.com/David. And if you want to listen in your car going across the causeway, just search for the David Bernard Podcast wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Android. I'm on all of them. We also have the audio version on our website. So check it out. I'm kind of having a fun time doing it, and there's been some pretty interesting guests so far. Of course, our Fox 8 weather app, vital as it was last year during Hurricane Zeta. If you lose power, you can still watch us streaming on the web on your tablet or phone during a storm. Power outages, can't rule it out because we don't know how strong the storm is going to get yet, but I don't think wind's going to be an enormous factor. We could get a 50 or 60 mile per hour tropical storm, but it's likely going to be maybe just a tad weaker than that. Nevertheless, around here, that's enough to maybe lose power in a couple of spots. And finally, if you guys have not seen our Weather in the Storm special, you can find it on fox8live.com. We've got the entire hurricane special right there. So here's the quick overview again. Very high chance that we're going to see development in the Gulf over the next 24 to 48 hours. Almost 100% chance that we're going to at least see a tropical depression and likely a tropical storm. The biggest impact of this likely to be rainfall. And again, we expect some flood watches probably to come out during the day tomorrow as it becomes a little bit more clear on exactly what this depression is going to do and also what the track of the storm is likely going to be. So that's how things are looking right now. I'm going to be heading into the station in a few minutes. And when I do, we'll be looking at the new data this afternoon, Bruce, and along with Zach Friedel and myself, and hopefully be able to give you guys a better idea of what we can expect over the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay, that's it from home right now. I'll see you at Fox 8 a little later on.